Well, I am joined this afternoon by one of the UK's most innovative lawyers, Gary Gallen, CEO and founder of Rradar. Gary, how are you?
Full of mischief and stubbornness, Ali. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, much the same. Thank you very much. Now, thank you so much for joining us on the Shaping Your Success channel. Looking to talk to innovative lawyers doing interesting things in the sphere of law and beyond. And I wanted to talk to you today about, obviously, the firm that you founded, Rradar. So Rradar combines legal expertise, digital tools, and business solutions. It's an innovative law firm. I know that from experience. And your team includes solicitors, legal advisors, IT, and in-house developers, design and media specialists, which is very interesting in itself. Can you explain more, please, about your innovative approach to the practice and business of law?
The innovative approach is actually nothing more clever than just trying to recognize the need of the customer, the client that I've been trying to serve better and better over the years. So my skill set, for context, is that as a litigator, I've done several thousand trials and several thousand more court appearances as a criminal lawyer. And in that, the key that for success for me is communication and conversation and the trust that brings with my client, my customer. And so the Rradar model is Gary Gallen's 30-year overnight success journey of working from the ground up as a call-out duty solicitor to equity partner at global law firms, but always working with clients when it had gone wrong. So actually, the need of the customer is to not talk to a lawyer because they're in a crisis and a problem. The need of the customer is to get information that lawyers know to make more informed and better decisions. So Rradar really is that long journey and looking at the pattern of trend of why things go wrong, and then trying to build and design a firm that takes knowledge with different ways of delivering that knowledge, different content channels with technology to actually help clients be better informed, more empowered, better educated, because it's about life is about freedom of choice. So we're offering freedom of choice. So those different skill sets that you mentioned are about trying to communicate with people, build trust and relationship, let them understand the knowledge in the way that people want to understand knowledge, shape that knowledge for their own business purposes so that they can take the risks, build the businesses, chase the profits, be entrepreneurial, take opportunities in the most risk managed and safest way possible. So really that's what I've learned over 30 years. And I've tried to build a firm that just takes knowledge and transfers it to the clients in a better, faster, smarter way so they can do what they want to do.
Brilliant. So could you give our viewers an example of how you go about trying to empower your clients, your customers?
Of course. So the key focus of the business is what is the need of our client. So we work in the corporate world. So we look at, is that a construction client? If that's a construction client, what type of construction is that client in? Do they work on roofs and open spaces and at height with those kind of risks? Or do they work digging trenches and are they in the ground? Or is it a warehouse client? Or is it a professional services client? So the real issue is law touches everybody. Companies Act, directors' duties, partnership responsibilities, you can't ignore the law, but keeping up to pace with those laws and then learning how to adapt those laws and those rules to suit different business models. We spend our time looking at our clients and thinking, well, we work for you and you use us to fix things when it's gone wrong. But the real challenge of a lawyer is not to do the repetitive work and only to be helping people when they're already in a crisis. So the challenge is, can we design with the client's needs and ends in mind, which is to avoid litigation, insurance claims, and being in crisis and trouble. That takes a lot of stress, mental health, anxieties and problems out of the workplace as well. So there's a lot of ESG, social governance, wider environmental impact issues that we're looking at in what we do. But then we would take, say, a risk assessment, a method statement, and a safe system of work, that we've tested and used with the health and safety executive and with the police in countless litigation cases. And we would take that knowledge to an industry sector and say, if you work in this sector, these are the words, this is the teaching, this is the education that saves lives, protects your employees, is compliant with the law, and this is the practical, relevant toolkit that will defend you and look after your employees and is successful when you are tested at the ultimate point where it's suggested you got it wrong and didn't do it the right way. So taking the learning from that, we would then look at different learning techniques, behavioral psychology, so the audio. Some people want to learn through listening, some people want to learn through watching, so video. Some people want it in a roadmap, in a coloured diagram, in steps. So we would then look at teaching techniques about how do we get that knowledge into technology, delivered in a consumable, practical, fast, relevant way for the employees in a business, for the managers who need to manage those employees, and then for the risk dashboard of the business. So as lawyers, we know they're the pillars, and that's the information we need to get across. So it's not about the legislation. It's actually, we do the interpreting of the legislation. We know how it's tested, what is successful. And then we use technology as a delivery means, as a shaping means, and a way of talking to the clients throughout the day, iteratively, through the use of the tools and the knowledge within. So that's why developers, designers, media, behavioral psychology, teachers, different skills are there with the lawyer's knowledge, the technology, and how people want to consume knowledge. We've put them under the one Rradar roof, but it's a knowledge transfer platform, just accepting that there are red, greens, blues, yellows, different types of people out there that like to consume information of different ways. So we just simply move that information across and deliver it in those different ways, little and often, so that people can learn through 3 or 4 different learning mechanisms. But that's where habit and behavior, compliance, trust, relationship, better working practices come from.
Fantastic and innovative, which is precisely what we're here to talk about. But you're enjoying tremendous success with this approach that you're developing.
Yes, we looked, for example, at the insurance sector, that's also looking at those risks, current and emerging risks for business, and they're trying to interpret and understand those emerging risks, and the pandemic is reshaping those risks exponentially. Brexit, GDPR, data protection, flexible working requests, rotations of staff, new ways of communicating compliance to those staff members has meant actually that people are more open to law being delivered in these more innovative learning educational pathways. One of the great features, though, is we are a law firm and we are expert lawyers that know how we have tested everybody else's advice, everybody else's systems, everybody else's templates and guidance comes to the litigators to test in the tribunals and the police stations and the courtrooms and the tribunals, whether it be a tax tribunal or employment tribunal. Usually as a litigator, I found I only got asked to help and to analyse everybody's working processes and systems and advice, and 4 or 5 different organisations might have provided advice and it's gone wrong. I started to recognise it would be good to actually tap into the litigator before you've ever had the problem, and to talk to the fixer, as it were, the litigator. If you were to do this, what are the things that you find that go wrong that come to you to fix at the end of the equation? So really, I'm taking the end of the equation and bringing it back to a predictive, proactive resource. That's, as I say, it's about not telling businesses what they can't do. It's helping understand a business what it wants to do, because businesses don't want to be in trouble, and show them how to do it on a more risk managed, give them the rails to run along and the review points and the way to iterate and work along. The insurance sector, I'd worked at the other end of the spectrum, where the insurance company, let's be honest, doesn't want to have to pay claims. But actually the interest of the insurance company is exactly the same as the business owner. The business owner doesn't want to be in trouble and have to have a claim. So the two ends of the equation, as it were, the compulsory requirement to have insurance and the compulsory requirement of businesses to behave appropriately, look after employees, have insurance and protect and behave safely, are both the same. But I noticed that in between, the distance that grew between those aligned interests and how many pockets and niches and different levels moved those aligned interests further and further and further apart. My skill set aligns both of those ends together to make a smarter, faster, better result. And that's where technology is key, where both ends of the equation enabled by us, like the smart Intel chip, sat inside the insurance and the business, aligning them both, recognizing they've got the same interest, educating both ends at the same time. So the insurer will insure more and accept greater risk because we share our knowledge with the insurer, so they make a more informed decision to insure more and protect a company more. The company, by taking the knowledge, is able to do more, faster, smarter, better by taking our knowledge, and that aligns with the interest of the insurer. So actually, collaboration is key. Law is a fantastic resource, but it needs to be shaped, it needs to be moved, it needs to be tested and challenged for more modern working practices in the world that we're in. So actually the design nature of what we do, rather than designing in isolation, we design in collaboration. That's quite an important skill that lawyers need to understand. Invite the client more into your business and your processes and your knowledge. Profession, the legal profession, that word profession, it's about professing your knowledge, and not only professing your knowledge for an hourly rate and units of time recording at the lawyer's time and the lawyer's agenda in niches. Actually, more wider, more holistic working and designing with businesses makes for safer working practices. And as I say, insurance is an investment in actually helping businesses accept more risk, be more entrepreneurial, but it has to be done within a framework and with some safeguards around it. That's what we're enabling. So it's an investment model, more Rradar, in the company and the insurer, and using law as a way of gluing that together, if that makes sense, Ali?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you've been obviously tremendously innovative, and we both know it's the case that many law firms wish to be more innovative, but don't know where to start. So what would you suggest that they do?
It's hard to answer that really, really quickly, but there's two questions. I do some mentoring for a number of legal tech businesses and some more traditional law firms, and I find it interesting to ask them two questions. What kind of law firm do they want to be? Yeah, or often I'll change law firm to business. I said, ask yourself as a law firm, ask yourself as a business, but what kind of business do you want to be? And then ask yourself, what kind of client do you want to have? And do they match? And then sometimes invert it and put, what kind of client do you want? And what kind of business do you want to be? And invert those two questions. Because the thing that I often find people forget is it is about the business of law. So if there is a mismatch about the perception of what kind of a lawyer they want to be and where they want to practice law and at what level, but the customer they think they're servicing doesn't match that profile, then your business plan needs to be reviewed. So I'm trying to align is, what customer do you think it is that's your perfect customer that you want to service? And then what kind of business are you and what kind of law is it that you think that you're providing? Because if they're not aligned, you've got a fundamental problem. So before you can be innovative, there's some real basics. Who's my client? What are their needs? And what knowledge have I got? And what is it I'm passionate about and I want to deliver and do? Because you need to align your passion, your drive, because there's one certain thing about business, there's going to be bumps, there'll be curveballs, things will go wrong. Yeah, it's not a nice, smooth, staged process to success to build a business. It's more like a bowl of spaghetti. You'll go round in circles sometimes or what have you before you get to that end result. So alignment. So before you get to innovation, look at that. Then with innovation, you can start to say, well, how can I do it faster, smarter, better? Yeah, where do I solve those needs more uniquely and better than existing competition? Then that's where I find some of the innovation comes in terms of an internal process. Where can technology give me the faster pen, as I call it, technology to improve an internal process so that you're designing and advising and delivering and invoicing better, so your internal processes are more innovative, more smart, more joined up, more connected. Then what is your marketing? What is your presentation of your business to try and communicate to a customer? Where is your innovation in how you're clear of your proposition, smart with your pricing, intelligent with who your end customer is and how you connect with them to be able to get them to see the wonderful resources that you've got? And then real next generation innovation, as I say, is how are you providing that to a client where you and the client are designing together on a platform? Where is the client's information building upon your first communication point, your first delivery of a service? And where are you then encouraging the client to share more about them with you so that you can offer more insight and other levels of service? So there's that client solution, there's your internal office and to supply a solution, how is your administration and that working? And then there's how do you connect your business to the client in between? So there's three key points of innovation. So when people talk about legal tech, I get frustrated because there is no legal tech. It's just tech. Everybody's got tech. It's the same tech. Anybody can use that tech. Yeah. How you choose to apply those technology tools and opportunities is the key. As I say, there's at the moment, legal innovation tends to be more in trying to build a faster pen to do something quicker within a law firm. There's not much innovation between taking what the law firm is doing and trying to move it into the client's domain so that the clients see it, hear it, and are more interested in it, will consume it, etc. And almost none that's actually client side, where the knowledge and the technology is put in the hands of the client for the client to do more for themselves.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for that outline. Well, it's been fantastic to hear from you. Many insights contained what we've covered there. So I thank you so much for the time that you've taken to answer the questions, and I'm sure our audience will benefit greatly from digesting what you've had to say. So thank you very much, Gary.
I hope so. If there's anything that's in there that somebody finds useful, then I'll be happy with it. But no, thank you for giving an old lawyer a little bit of airtime.
Thank you very much.